Hello guys, this is Play 47. I got a new video today. Today I'm doing a video about, or at least a video response to Lao Shu saying, "Why do we do this?" It says it's mostly about discouragement, and I just want to share my opinions about discouraging. Some of the topics I like to discuss in is why do um, some people discourage each other. And what happens sometime when you're being discouraged, and what do you do about it? Um, just like in my opinion, I just like most people who live in the world today, an ego exists inside everyone. I don't care who you are, in some way, in some sense, you may even have an ego. You just don't know it. We all do. Um, and one of my questions I like to ask myself for this is why do an ego exist? Why does egos exist? Exist, excuse me. Why do they exist? I think that some people, because this is my honest opinion about why people discourage others. It's just I think that their egos are really big. Um, some people get to the point where they're too confident in it, uh, and they compare their skills with others, showing um, what they can do better to somebody else. There's a song that talks about this. Anything you can do, I can do better. You know, I can do anything better than you. See how the song goes? It was a song almost based off of it. Some people go as far as to say that arrogance plays a role within discouraging it. Some people just think that the fact that they're better at it. Some people want to deserve their bragging rights. They want to brag about it. They want to continue to brag about it. It's like having. It's kind of like this. It's like having. I don't mean to be nasty or anything. It's kind of like having a bigger, bigger size or whatnot. Most men will brag about that. Mine's is bigger than yours or whatnot. You know. Some men will probably brag about that opposed to the other man who's smaller or whatnot. It's kind of like that in a way. And I got a story, a little small story to add with this. Um, let's say, for example, that um, you have 5 students, and these 5 students are taking a Spanish class to learn Spanish, um, and each student is all learning at a different rate and a different progress. One student you have is uh, he's actually learning very, very well and very fast, and he's feeling really good about himself and confident. The other students you have in line, at least the last student, the very last student, or the fifth student, sounds really. He's his Spanish skills or whatnot or whatever. His speaking skills is not as great as the others, and he feels kind of bad about himself based off of what others had to say about what. Well, it's not about others what they have to say. It's just how the other person is learning fast compared to him. He thinks to himself sometimes that he's not as good as the others, while the other guys are learning faster than him, and they're not doing anything about it, supporting him or nothing. Only thing they can tell him is like, "Oh, you're not saying that word right, and you need to quit what you're doing because I'm better than you." And eventually, the class is over. Everybody learns at a different rate at their own level. The very top student becomes very fluent in Spanish language, and he finally gets to go to Spain and whatnot, or Mexico, and to practice his Spanish. And people are so amazed by how he speaks, and he sounds so awesome and good. While you see how the other guy, at least the very fifth guy, he was living basically still in America, and he's still trying to do what he can to learn, and and he's just not really impressed with his. He's not really happy with his success or anything like that at all. So I think the ego starts to like. I think that most people who do discourage others, I think is they compare themselves about to others to how they're doing compared composed to others. You know, this whole language learning thing or whatnot. Not a lot of people say things like, "Oh, a lot of people can't do it." It's just a few, it's a certain few people can actually do it. And that's not true at all. It's not a certain a group of people that can actually do it. Everybody has the ability to do so. You know, at least in my opinion. If you're, you know, if you know what I mean. Everybody has the ability to do so. It's not a one man thing. Anybody can learn how to learn a language or whatever. If this is the case, anybody can learn how to draw. If you got hands or whatnot or feet, you know, anybody can do stuff like that. Anybody can play a video game and get better at it. You know, it's just basically it's all about practicing and keep doing it and keep going at what you're doing and disregarding the disencouragement that you're receiving from others. Because those people who do those things, they're basically comparing their skills to yours. That's what they do. Um, so what happens sometimes when you're being discouraged? Eventually, at least from my point of view, what happens to me when it happened to me when I was discouraged a lot. Sometimes it got to the point where I felt like I quit. I just like, whoa, some of these people just quit. They may even just quit because of this discouragement, you know, based off of what people are trying to do with their life and self. And when they're not doing it the right way or a certain way, they might want to quit. They don't want to do it anymore. You know, this is sometimes what happens. They don't want to do it anymore. They get angry at themselves, and they wish that, you know, I wish I was as good as the other person. You know, they start to look down on themselves because this is what I was doing. You know, to at one point when I was being discouraged a lot, even when I was trying to draw. I mean, I got plenty of stories that can go from drawing to video games. Man, I remember I asked my cousin for some. I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "What you think about this picture I drew, man?" "Oh, man, I don't think you all that good, man, but I think I know some people that's better than you." You know, that right there says it alone, man. You know that I felt discouraged about that, man, and eventually, when I was younger, I quit doing what I was doing. And I was drawing. I quit doing it. Now I'm starting to do it more because, you know, this is what I thought I was good at, but other people said differently about what I was doing. I can remember back in the day, man, I was trying to be a professional gamer or whatnot. I was trying to play Halo professionally, and you know I would stay up all night and play video games, and I would wake up in the morning and play Halo. I was doing whatever I can try to get better at it, but people was telling me online was telling me like, oh hey man, I think he's like, I asked him, I didn't ask him. They was like, man, dude, you suck, man. You just suck at Halo, man. You need to quit, whatever. I'm like, how can I suck if I'm a lieutenant? And they started laughing at me. And he's like, yeah, maybe you should just play more and all that other stuff, man. Um, it made me more motivated when the people told me that I couldn't really do much about my skills and you know and all that other stuff, man. Eventually got to the point where I actually stopped playing Halo and you know, I stopped playing that type of video game at all in one. I just switched over to fighting games. You know, I just didn't really care about, you know, shooters anymore, uh, or at least becoming, I guess, or I guess a professional gamer. It seems. I even got some more stories to go along with fighting games too. But that's some of the my experiences from discouragement. Um, and that's eventually sometimes what happens. Sometimes you feel motivated when you're being discouraged sometimes, and sometimes you just give up and quit based off of other people's words. And people say things like, "Mom, people they don't care about what other people say." I mean, that's true. People do care. Um, because if they didn't care, people would be discouraged about other things. They wouldn't do these things at all. They wouldn't feel discouraged. They wouldn't feel mad. They wouldn't feel angry. They wouldn't feel frustrated about where their progress is at and and how other people's are doing. You know, that's what I learned in my lifetime, in my philosophy. I don't compare my skills up to anybody. Um, I compare it with myself. Now, if I want to see how well I'm doing, if I'm improving at something, then I'll probably start to do so. That's about it. You know, I wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm the best." I'm not. I never go out there and say stuff like that. I'm the best. But anyway, moving on to what do we do about it? Basically, is this: it's not much you can do about other people being a certain way, but you just have to disregard the information that you're actually hearing from others. If it's discouraging, you know, do what you want to do. Don't focus on being better than anybody else. You're doing it because you like to do it. This is what you like to do. You want to make language learning or whatever it is that you like to do a part of your life, and that's why you do it. Anyway, guys, this is just my little rant on discouragement And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace.